Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, a podcast for women in midlife and beyond. At Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, we talk about anything and everything to do with midlife. My name is Bridget.
And I'm Colleen.
And today we have Josie Bissett,
Woohoo!
Who was on Melrose Place, among other things, among all these other great things that she's done. She has been in lots of different Hallmark television series.
The
Wedding March. And there were like four or five of five of them with Jack Wagner, who was also on Melrose Place. And I loved Melrose Place. I was telling her that I would watch the kids' shows with my son in the morning and then put him to bed, and I would watch Melrose Place.
She was trying not to fangirl too much.
Oh, I loved Melrose Place, and she played such a sweet character.
And she's super sweet in real life too. I mean,
she is. So what a joy. She really is great to talk to. And she also is a children's book author of a very popular book, Tickle Monster, that Colleen and I both
think about that. Like the Tickle Monster, you either read it to your kids, your nieces and nephews, your grandkids. She wrote that, and it's timeless. Like,
and it's very well known. You see it all over in different places and bookstores. So she's done a whole lot, and also a new empty nester too.
Yes, we talk about that. And she is going to be on Fantasy Island this Wednesday, the 12th of September.
New Fantasy Island.
I'm going to watch that.
Oh, I do too. I was checking, I see where it's streaming. She also, it's on Fox, but I think I could catch it like on Hulu or something.
Probably.
And she's also on there with two of the other women that were stars
Daphne
on Melrose
Zuniga and Laura Lighton. And the show's actually called The Big 5-0. It's like the three of them are going to celebrate their 50th birthday. So it sounds
perfect. Really it's just perfect for us, for our audience, for us women.
So guys, definitely check that out because I think we're all going to enjoy it. And I'm excited for that. And she's just a really down to earth. She lives in Seattle. She's going through the transition of empty nesting. We talked about menopause. We talked about the books and her, her career and her kids. She has a daughter named Maya, just saying. We have a lot in common. We need to be best friends because we have a lot in common.
Yes.
And she was very honest about kind of being in a place right now where she's transitioning. And she's trying to do it in a way that's maybe a little slower paced and not jumping at every opportunity.
And it's okay to sit in that. For a while, it's really okay to sit in something and feel the feelings, that people have. I just think that that's a great attitude. It seems like sometimes people are pushing you to get rid of a certain emotion, but you just sit there. Sometimes it's okay to take it slow. And I think that's a great message.
And we talked about those privileges and rights that we get in midlife and beyond. And she was very open and honest about them. And she's on the cover of the inaugural issue of Ask Beauty magazine. So she talks about her, plant-based diet and how healthy she looks. Stunning. I mean, her natural beauty is stunning. Mm-hmm. So we're going to let her do the talking, but we fangirl a couple times during the episode. We try not to, but never quite works.
It happens. It happens. Yeah.
And here we go. Welcome back to Hot Flashes and Cool Topics. Today, guys, we are so excited. We have Josie Bissett on, and many of you will remember her from Melrose Place, but she is a busy woman, and we are excited to talk to you about the new things you're doing as well. So welcome, Josie.
Thank you so much. Great to see you guys.
Well, it's wonderful to meet you and to talk to you. And I wanted to start the conversation off first because next week you are actually starring in one of my favorite shows, and they're doing a remake, Fantasy Island. How did that come about?
Yes, I know. It was such a special little experience that I got to have and in Puerto Rico in the middle of, this coming out of this pandemic and getting to work with Laura Layton and Daphne Zuniga, both from Melrose Place. Was just wonderful. I'm not sure Fox, Fox, obviously the show was on Fox and Melrose was on Fox, and maybe they, three women having their 50th birthday party. We were a perfect fit. So it was a journey, definitely, like to not only do the script itself was a journey of all these characters of what they're going through, turning 50 and the different aspects of where they're at in their life right now. But also just working with Daphne and Laura. I haven't seen that in a very long time.
Really?
Yeah. And so it was just lovely catching up with them and their lives and reminiscing about Melrose Place and all of that.
Oh,
It
that is,
must be so strange
yeah,
because you were in your 20s when you were doing Melrose Place, and now you're doing a
Yeah.
show for women celebrating their 50th birthday.
mhm.
Yeah, I know. I was 21 when the show started. We were sitting there together and I said to them, like, this is incredible that we're oftentimes women, especially in our industry and actresses, we're on film. It's hard, it's hard to watch it's one thing to age, right? We all age, but to see it in your like on camera with high definition and see
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
like, no, that's how I look. Like what? So it's it's tough, and I would hear a lot. I noticed that people our age or women, when men don't, of course, cover it up with their beards or whatever, and oh, talking about we're getting so old or this and that, and I thought, let's embrace it. Like, let's celebrate it. Let's be thankful, first of all, that we're here, number one, and that we're like still acting and still look okay. And, instead of feeling down about it, let's just like celebrate it. And so I really tried to do that myself on this episode.
It's so important to do that because I think, thank goodness, it's still not where it should be, but you are seeing more women our age being in shows and being on TV. It's still not where it should be. I don't feel like it
Yeah.
is, but
Not.
it's very encouraging to see that happening now. I'm just so
That's right.
happy about that.
Yeah. And the movement, I noticed there's just more of a movement with women not wearing makeup and being on camera with just absolutely nothing because there's so much social media and so many people doing their own posts or whatever and just being themselves. And I think that's so cool because that's not how we really look on TV. So I love that we're getting more and more comfortable to just like, this is who we are in real life. And oftentimes I find it funny. Like, I feel like I look better in real life than I do on camera. Yeah. I don't know. I just sometimes feel because, you're off a character, you may not like the way the hair is done, exactly what angle you like. And yeah, so I do love that. I do love that movement of women just not feeling so pressure.
We often say, because we are living longer than we ever have before, that the media and really society, they don't know what to do with 50 plus women. They don't know where to put us. They don't know how to advertise. Even though we are powerful consumers, they don't know how to advertise to us. So we're kind of defining it for the next generation, for our daughters, who I also have a daughter named Maya. So it's like
Great
good
name.
choice. Yes, good choice.
Yeah.
But we're kind of doing it for the next generation so that they feel comfortable and confident as they get older, that they don't have to look a way that's not natural for them.
Well, I really hope that we're doing that because I think our daughter's generation, imagine growing up with Instagram. Oh
No,
my
thank
gosh.
you.
Like, oh my
Everything
gosh.
you do being recorded, all the stupid things I did as a teenager, then somebody could have recorded that and shared it with the whole world and having to, yeah.
Not only that, but
Mhm.
just the pressure that what they see with all the filters and all of that. They're so aware. I also have a stepdaughter that's 13 and I watch her go through it and it like kills me. It's like, oh, I don't like this, or look at this on me. It's all they focus on. And it's because it's in their face and they're comparing themselves constantly with other women, or other girls, and it's all filtered and it's all fake. But yes, there is that natural, but I think it's us doing it, and I don't think they've caught on yet. Maybe,
I agree. Yeah.
Hopefully it will, but it is the 13-year-olds. It's really hard. It's hard to watch.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough to be that age. And then it's even tougher that now it's all for everybody to see. And it's very hard to control that. I know parents try to control that, but it's really hard to control that. You're not next to your child every second. So
that's right.
Yeah. So
and they all have fake accounts, spam accounts.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what's happening. Yeah.
It's hard not to give them a phone because you want to know where they are and you want to reach them, or if they've got whatever they have going on. It's really hard to say no electronics. It's just like,
it's so hard. Like,
it is
one or the other. You go live off the grid and homeschool, do Waldorf or something, or you try to have a balance. And I watched this documentary one time on Alicia Keys. I think it was one of Oprah's master classes, or one of not master class, but one of her interviews. And it's just always stuck in my head. And I, wish I had done this more with, especially my daughter, both of my kids actually. But she said, she was raised by a single mom, and her mom worked 2 jobs, and she goes, I didn't have time to get into trouble. She's like, get off that bus after school, I'd walk through, whatever area in New York she was living in, and people like, hey girl, you want to come over and do this or whatever? And she's like, nope, I got to go to music class, or I got to go to. So her mom had her just in things, busy, and there's a fine line to that too, but at the same time, if they're not busy doing things, that they're going to be on their phone. Like if they have a phone, they're going to be wanting to be on them so they can connect with their friends and, all of that. So I think that's the key, is just keeping your kids busy in sports and music, whatever it may be, whatever they're into, but just busy at home. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's hard because it's not a reality on Instagram, on Facebook, on Snapchat or TikTok, whatever they're doing. They don't understand, no matter how many times you say it, that this is not reality. These people are showing you a happy moment when there's still 24 hours in a day that you don't see.
That's right. Yeah. And it is too, it's neat too. They have all these connections and they stay connected, because it is like my daughter who's 19 has a whole different experience with it than my daughter who's 13. Right. And I can see that. I tell you, like, if I was their age and looked at it and was home on a Saturday night just because I didn't get invited to something or whatnot, it would really, really affect me. I would be, I really think, I don't think I'd do well back in those days, because you're growing and you're like your tribe at that age and your friends, they're so meaningful to you. They're so important to you. They matter so much. And so if you're not included in something, and everyone's having all this fun, you just, I feel for them. I really do. I think it's a really tough time.
And to see it, it's like, that might have happened when we were younger, but we didn't see it. We might hear about it Monday, but we didn't have that picture glaring right at us in our face. And that is really tough.
We do not envy women who are raising kids, and men who are raising kids as teenagers right now. So that must, and it's interesting how you can note the difference between a 13-year-old and a 19-year-old, because you don't think that there's that much time difference between them.
Yes. Yeah. The younger, it's the TikTok, right? So they're always like doing these dances, and they're really, really good. And I think it's actually cute that they're dancing. I love that. But and then the older, I'm not sure, because Maya's in college now doing her thing, and just like, God, college is harder than I thought. You got it, girl.
Speaking of which, you are now an empty nester, or I think your son's about to go back to school. How is that experience for you?
It's really, you read stories about women going through that. And I always thought, I can't wait. Like, I've given everything to raise my kids, and I have so many passions, and it's almost like when people say, well, I'm not going to know what I'm going to do when I retire. Like, really? There's so many things I'd want to do. That's kind of how I felt about, but that is not how it is. Like walking by her room and she's not there, and it's just so different. It's so weird. So thankful that she's just, an 8-hour car ride away, because she's in Boise and we live in Washington. So I feel kind of like if she's on the East Coast, that would be hard. However, I do live in Atlanta as well. Oh yeah. Like I've had a hard time. Like it takes a little bit of getting used to, but I have cleaned out her room, and now it is my office because she has a better view.
That's great. That is great. I have a room for both my kids, and they don't live here. They haven't lived here for years.
I know. I need to set up a room for her. I'm still getting settled in this, just kind of moved ourselves, but I think you
can't explain it until you can't describe it until you do it.
It's like in your stomach or something. Like I know that exactly what you meant when you said you walk past their room and it's empty, and it's just it's something in your body that just feels really strange. Yes.
Yeah, it's it's a loss, right? It's a loss. Right. It's a loss. That's what it is. It's a loss but it's great. Like, but it's also just it's a new time, right? It's a new time in my life too, to grow and get back into another series, which I'm excited about. But I realized, I was talking to my sister about this, I couldn't figure out, I kind of, when you kind of go through funks and you're like, God, what's wrong? Like, I don't feel quite right. Like, I'm kind of sad. I'm kind of, I just, and I'm usually pretty good at like understanding where my emotions are. But for a long time, I'm just like, what is it? Like, something's not, I don't feel quite right. And it dawned on me, it was that I felt like when I raised my kids, because that's what I wanted to do. So when Mason, I was 5 months pregnant when Melrose ended. So it was a really easy transition for me because I didn't have to like decide to quit a show. It was like, I did 7 years on the show. And then, 3 months later, I got to have a new chapter and be home for him and raise him and all of that. So I really took parenting seriously because I really actually love kids. And it's where I feel I'm at my best. I realized that was my purpose for so long. And then, like when they get to be 16, especially when they're driving, they kind of don't need you as less. They need you for money. They need you for guidance and all of that stuff. And then the next step is like, they really don't need you. They just don't, it seems that way. And that's kind of when I started feeling this funky funk. And I realized like, I don't really know what my purpose is now. Like that was what's my purpose now? I feel a little bit lost. Like it's such an interesting time.
Right. And a lot of women sit there and they get so focused on what they lost, like you said, that they don't realize that you can feel that loss, but still be excited to look forward to something next. It's okay to have those feelings simultaneously.
Right. I think it's important. You're right. And I do feel that way. And I'm excited for everything. I'm just so many transitions going now. But once I can sink my teeth, once I get my move settled and sink my teeth into my next project, it's going to feel so good. But it's difficult being in these transitions in life and being unsettled. And it's okay. Like, it's like you said, now I know it. Now I know what it is. And it's okay. Like, I'm fine. I'm going to be in it. I'm going to live it. I'm going to experience all those feelings because I know I'm going to be super busy on to the next project and it'll be awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
And they come back.
Yes, they do. Colleen knows. Colleen knows.
My daughter just got married. She's 25. She got married this past weekend.
Amazing.
It was surreal. It was absolutely surreal.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful too.
And I have a 23-year-old and Bridget's kids. She has a son and daughter.
My son's 28. My daughter is going to be 26, like in a week. So, and they don't live here. They live pretty far. Well, my son's in California. My daughter is just moved to Austin, Texas. So,
oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And we're in Nashville. So,
you're in Nashville? Oh,
yes.
I am dying to go to Nashville.
Come by anytime.
Come by. It is a wonderful place to live.
I keep hearing just so many amazing things about it. Kathy Gifford was one.
Yes, she lives she has a place in Franklin.
She lives right down.
Yeah, we live in Franklin
where we are.
Yeah, yes. She was like this. I remember one of her last days on the Today Show. She was like, "I am the most amazing place. This Nashville is like the friendliest people. So much fun." She just went on and on about it. And I think Atlanta's pretty close, isn't it? Like
it's 4 hours or four. My daughter went to school in Atlanta, so I used to do the trek quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay, I can come see you guys.
Yes, please do.
Yes,
because one of the things we did was, and Bridget and I moved around the same time, when our kids graduated high school and moved on to college, we decided, okay, we're going to have a fresh start too. And I was raising my kids in Florida. I moved here to Nashville. Bridget was raising her kids in Kentucky. She moved here to Nashville, and it was just a fresh start for us.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah, it was an interesting time because we both had quit what we were doing. I was a teacher. Colleen was an attorney and a Pilates instructor. And we both moved here, and it was like, okay, I don't have children. I'm not going to meet people through my children. I'm not going to meet people because I'm not working. How am I going to meet people?
Right.
And we both moved to a neighborhood that is very social, that has events, that has everything going on. And we found each other.
You guys met there then as friends?
Yes, in our neighborhood. We met I've been here about 6 years.
And I've been here about 5.
Yeah,
about 5.
Five. And we met shortly after we moved here. They have like summer concerts and things like that. Like on the Great Lawn, you bring your lawn chair, you bring your picnic basket, whatever. And
you honestly
so-
never know who's going to walk by. Like, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban live right by us, and all the like different. And you're like,
we don't know them.
Well,
we don't
no,
know
yeah,
them.
we're like this.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're not, one of the reasons why a lot of people move here, so you're not supposed to acknowledge if someone is an actor or a musician or anything. You just,
You just kind of let them be. You let them be.
live.
Yes.
So people were like,
common knowledge. Like that's
it pretty much is. I think some
Yes.
newer people, but it's like that was one of the first things we were told. Oh, that's why they like Nashville. If you want people
Yeah.
to live here, you leave them alone, leave them their space.
I like
Mhm.
that.
it's just about, you
Yeah.
know, but for us starting this next chapter of life, like you said, it's kind of a mindset change. You have to say, okay, what's in this? It's okay for me to be a little selfish now. It's okay for me to have that self-care that maybe I thought to be a good parent, I have to put myself last, like everybody else. And now it's okay to kind of change that mindset and do something. So you have Fantasy Island coming up. You were just on Ask Us Beauty magazine, which was a gorgeous cover. So
thank you.
You look stunning.
And Michelle, who's the founder of that magazine, is just such a wonderful person, and so happy to meet her. It was one of those situations that I look and learn from. It was a quick, hey, my publicist said, there's this online beauty magazine. They're wondering if you want to be on the cover. It's about, it was a real quick thing. And I didn't really look into it much, but I said yes. And it turned into like, what? I'm in Times Square. Like, what if I'd said no? You know what I mean? Like, it was a good lesson because I had no clue about it. And I'm so happy to have met her. She's such a wonderful person. And all the women in it are just super inspiring. And it was a good lesson in saying yes, right? Just, staying open to opportunities and going down that path of yes. And self-care, I get you on that because it is hard. I love self-care, but I have a membership. No, I did the spa. I did a campaign during Melrose Place at this incredible spa here in Washington. And I have free lifetime services. Okay.
Wow. Jealous much?
You would not, you guys would probably be the same. I use it to get my hair colored because I have to have my hair colored. I use it to get a cut. I use it for the things that are essential, like for women, but I'm not in there getting massages like I should be, facials like I should be, right?
Yeah.
So that is the thing. It's like, we have to remember that, I don't know, like for me, when you said that, it's like, yeah, that's right. It's my time. It's my time to give back to myself and, I immediately, cause I love work and I love what I do, and immediately turn to, like pounding the pavement again. And I said, like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to take a year to take care of myself, read books again, watch movies, do all the things that I haven't had a chance to do for so many years. And I'm still like trying to balance that out because I want to work, but I also want to do that. Like part of me, I have an Airstream. Part of me really like wants to get an Airstream and just go for a while, it's still a Sprinter van. And just go and bring a bunch of books and magazines and do whatever I want. We'll see if I do that, but it sounds good.
Yeah. And you can try it. You can try it. And if you're like, okay, this isn't what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Drive it back. Yeah.
Exactly. I can do whatever I want.
Right. And it doesn't always have to work out. It can just be an experience. I think one of the privileges we get as we get older, and Bridget and I talk a lot about this, is that failure is not really failure. It's just a life lesson. And you move on to something else,
That's right.
Have you found that your confidence has grown now that you're kind of in that midlife stage?
I do. I feel, I don't know, mostly what I've noticed as I get older is I really don't care about what people think. And it's such a liberating feeling. I really don't care. I care more about what I think. Like I'm more hard on myself than anything, but it's just not that meaning. Like it doesn't matter anymore. I don't, if someone's judging me or if they're not, they're probably not, like whatever it is or whatever I'm going to do, it doesn't matter. And I think that's pretty key. Getting older, you hear people don't care anymore. It's nice. It's nice to have that freedom inside.
It's one of those freedoms that I have
Yeah.
really enjoyed as I've
Yeah.
grown older. Yes. Yeah.
That's right. Just like getting up on the floor and dancing if no one's even, I would never want to like, oh my God, I'm gonna get up there by myself. Like, I don't even care. I'll do whatever. Like, it's just that kind of thing, right? Like we live once. We're here, like it's a sliver. It's like boom. We
Yes.
just don't know.
Yeah.
And now is our time to just live it up and live life and love life and do all the things that we couldn't do because we were raising our kids, and putting all of that into perspective and priorities. Like that's always I have a hard time because I have passions, so many passions, and my therapist is just really good about like telling me, get your priorities straight, right? Because I can
Right.
do all these things. And when I do that, I'm half-assing all of them instead of like fully, so
Mhm.
there's so much available now when you're an empty nester, right? And
Right.
got that world is like in my hands. So I have to prioritize just what's most important for me
That
right now.
is
Focus
such
on.
a tough one. That is a tough
Yeah.
one. Exactly what you said, because everything, there's all the opportunities.
All
and
the
it's just
shiny
so hard.
objects.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
It is so hard.
And we were talking when we were having a conversation with Leslie Ann Warren. She was saying, as she gets older, she really picks and chooses what she wants to do, because if she feels that passion for it, she knows it's the right choice. But
Yes.
she has that privilege of saying, that's good, but it's not going to fill me up like I want it to. So she picks and
Yeah.
chooses, and she's a little more discerning about the project. She doesn't like to travel as much, so she may not go abroad to tape something, or it's just a privilege
Right.
that you earn. And you can
That's right. Yes, that's so true. And I feel the same way. And actually, I've done that since my kids were born. I've made that choice to not live in LA, to raise them in Washington, which automatically sets me back as far as being able to audition in person. But I consciously made that choice. So I feel like my whole life as an actor, I've been making that sacrifice to only choose projects that were going to work for myself as a parent. Now it's kind of opposite. Now it's like, well, gosh, I can go anywhere. I can choose anything. However, I wouldn't ever want to do any of the like damsel in distress movies and things that are like emotionally hard. Like I just want to do lighthearted things right now, just for now.
That's really interesting because, when you started your career, you were 12, you started modeling, and you kind of fell into acting. Now that you're going back with this new charge or passion, how is it different now? The Hollywood and the acting world and auditioning, how is it different now?
Well, it's so different. I'll tell you this. So I interviewed was 1992, as to play Jane Mancini. I have not auditioned since then. So during all that time, right, it was still in-person auditions. You go into the room. Now then slowly it turned into self-tape. And now with pandemic, obviously it's all self-tape. I've never done a self-tape. I don't know how to do it. And I need to learn, obviously. And I'm not saying like, ooh, look at me, like I never auditioned. I didn't, because I just chose projects that were offered to me. So that's why I do a lot of Hallmark. That's why I did the, anything that was offered to me. If it fit into my schedule, I did it because I needed to make money also. And Vancouver is 2 hours away. So I love working in Vancouver, and that's where most of the Hallmark stuff is. So that worked out great.
It's funny. I was going to ask that because I noticed everything. I thought we talked to Mary Lou Henner. She was doing something in Vancouver, and I thought, does Hallmark
She was
just
doing the
want everything in
mysteries, the Hallmark.
Vancouver? Yes. Yeah. So that is
Lou
really
Henner's amazing. She must have been fun to interview, was she?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I was
I
so
thought-
nervous because I said, oh God, if I say something stupid, she'll remember it forever. She'll never forget it.
She'll be like, that was on a Tuesday, November 2nd.
Oh shoot! And you were wearing this.
Wearing that shirt.
Wild.
Yeah, it is wild. That
She's
was
so
that was
fun to
wild.
interview, though.
Yeah, she was very
What
fun.
a joy for
Mhm.
life. I mean, it's just
Yes,
it was
yes.
infectious.
I saw her at a premiere or a Hallmark event one time, and I had to tell her this because she said a quote somewhere in one of her books, and it was her dad or her grandfather that told her this, that life is how you react to plan B, something like that. So I for some reason I live that way, and I teach my kids that, because most of the time we're not going to get plan A, right? We want plan A, like we want this to happen, but most of the time, like, that's going to happen. And it can be even small things, like, I don't know, it's how we react in life to everything, right?
Right.
So I told her that. She loved it. Yeah.
Oh, it is
Yeah.
so true though. It is. And then it'll be easier if you just kind of, okay, things
Go
aren't
with
going to
it.
be perfect.
That's
Just
right.
go with it. And that reminds me that when Colleen's daughter got married Saturday night, and we're sitting there with all her husbands, and her husband danced with the daughter. And I looked around, every one of our husbands was crying. Like my husband, tears eyes, all the men
killed
at
me.
our table were crying. They all had daughters, and none of hers was like the first one to get married, her daughter. And we're all just like, my husband's like, it's like he can't hold it in.
Like, we will not.
Yeah.
And of course they danced to Butterfly Kisses, which is just the song.
Oh yeah.
And I'm watching them, and my daughter wipes a tear from my husband's eye.
They did it. All the men. All the men, that was not part of their plan. And I was like, well, I brought tissues for me, but here you go,
that
to my husband.
So sweet.
It was really sweet.
They're realizing they're next, right? They're all gonna
It's surreal, because you blink and it happens. And and you look back and you say, okay, my daughter's 25 now, and you look back when you were 25, you're on Melrose Place, and they did not have social media. So anything that you did was not taped. You're very lucky on that respect.
Yes.
What was it like living your 20s on Melrose Place?
I mean, it was all consuming, really. I mean, I had that just my life in a box almost. Went by like that, and I worked, and I was married. I got married to Rob. So of course I didn't know I was going to get Melrose. So we planned the wedding and all of this. And it was on the Friday, May 1st, I think it was. And then I started work. I got Melrose and started the Monday. So it was just like, I think back, like, my son's 22. I was married and on a show. I don't know how. He would never be ready for that. Like, right. I probably wasn't either. I mean, I know, obviously I'm not married now, so I wasn't ready for it, but I was growing, right, as a person, like in my 20s during that time. And, there's something to be said too about like milestones and living your life sort of as the age that you're at. So because I started working so young, I didn't go to college. So right out of high school, I was in Japan, then in LA, and like everything happened so quickly. I was super, super driven, and I wanted it to happen, but like I missed out on certain parts of my life that I think were really, now as an adult looking back, you need those times to grow in college and be in dorms and figure out who you are and party and have fun, right? Like, I've been working so hard for so long, and that's why it's so important for me, like this time right now, to allow myself to get to just do whatever. So I need to just remind myself that every day, because I still get up and like all I think about is working and what I'm going to do today, and it's just part of my personality. But yeah, those my 20s were getting married, being on Melrose, and that was kind of it. Yeah.
It's so wild. I mean, I don't know if y'all ever thought that Melrose Place would be as big as it was. I mean, I got married at 23. I had a baby at 25. I was watching the stuff, the T. Barry Brazelton in the morning, which you did with, and then I was at night when he was in bed, I was watching Melrose Place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do you think it was so popular? Because would it be popular now? I know they tried to do a remake of 90210, but
it would have to be just different now, right? I think it was popular because the success of 90210 was what launched us into Melrose, right? So we were a spinoff essentially of that. And timing is everything. It's like that book, I don't know if it's that Blink book, but if you're in the right time, the characters are all the right characters, all the characters mesh and have chemistry, we can't make that happen. It just is. It's luck, it's timing, it's everything like syncs up perfectly. And I think that's just why that show, and maybe why any show, is a success. And I think the beautiful part of it what I love hearing stories about is just when it was such a show where people got together because we didn't have a way to record things and there wasn't a lot on TV, and people actually like came to people's houses to watch it and met up in college dorms watching it and all that. I love that. So I just, I think it was just a combination of the type of show. It was like kind of racy back then, and the fashion and the characters all. Yeah. And it was different. It was a dramedy. At first it wasn't though, because first we didn't have that sort of crazy element in it. And when I think when the producers and writers figured out, oh my God, this is working, like the sort of like the wig thing and the crazy things that probably would never happen in life, but mixing them into reality was just different than any other show. And I think that was a special little thing that Mel had.
And then when Seinfeld did the whole thing.
Yes.
Oh, I actually rewatched like something on YouTube about that section of Seinfeld, and my husband was dying because he would watch it with me. He would act like he didn't, but he knew everybody was. He knew everything. And it's like, John, you knew. And then he ends with your character. Jane, why are you doing that with Michael?
Michael,
That was hilarious.
Did you ever want to play the Heather Locklear character and just be mean, or because you were really the good girl?
You were the sweet person. Yeah,
I did. Then there was a little bit of a time where they tried to try together to give Jane a little more of a backbone. And it worked, but first of all, Heather played that character so well. Heather's so good at playing a likable bitch, like
it's true.
Right? She's so adorable and darling, and she can say something and you're still like, oh my God, you're so cute. And so, she's really talented at that type of character. I could not do that. And I think keeping Jane the nice girl, and I think it was really important in that show because there was so much else going on. And I think it also was good for my career too, in a way, because it didn't stereotype me. It allowed me to get a lot of beauty campaigns and a lot of magazine covers just because I stayed sort of that nice classic girl next door. So I'm happy to have had that. Yeah, I liked Jane.
Yeah.
One of the things when I was, doing some research was I didn't know that you had actually auditioned to play Robert De Niro's daughter at the same time you were up for Melrose Place, and you chose Melrose Place over that. Was that that's crazy.
Yeah, it was. It's always exciting when you get a role, right? When you're an actor and you're putting yourself out there. And I worked so hard on my interviews, and Melrose was picked up for 13. And I guess I didn't think I was practical at that age, but I guess I kind of was, because my role was really small. Yes, it was a film, but I was drawn to TV because I knew that as much as I loved to travel, I was also married. I knew we were going to have kids. I wanted, a family life. That's who I am. I'm in Seattle. I have so much family here. And I knew that TV would allow me to have that kind of life. And that's why I picked it. It was, kind of amazing to think at such a young age, but I knew that that movie wouldn't probably catapult me into.
What movie was it? I can't
even
see.
Remember.
We don't, and it's Robert De Niro, but we don't remember that movie. I'm like, what movie did he have a daughter in?
He had a daughter in a lot of movies.
Yeah, he did.
Around 92. I have to think about that. But I just remember saying, wow. Think about how different your career might have been.
I know.
Yeah. And I've always heard someone say in acting that if the gods ever look down on you and give you a series, you grab that series and you stay with it, and you stay with it. Yeah.
Would you like to
help you forever? Yes.
Would you like to do another series?
I would. Yeah, I would. I'm ready to be on something. I really love ensemble casts. So my hope would be, well, actually, it's the only way I'd probably do something. I don't think I could. I know that I would not be happy doing a show where I was the lead working in every single scene. Your mind and body, it's a toll, because if you are carrying the show, you're memorizing all these lines, and you're on camera most of the time. It's not what I want, but I would love an ensemble cast because it affords you just a great life. You're not in every single thing. You're not the one carrying the show. You're in it with a team of people. So Yeah, putting that out there. That's what I'd like.
Another, I love ensemble cast. I love TV shows
Yeah.
with
I
ensemble
think
cast.
people enjoy it. It's just
Yes.
more diverse.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it is. It is. I wanted to ask you too, because I was a teacher, that you wrote that book, Tickle Monster. And is it Boogie Monster and Tickle Monster? Or?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. How did that come about?
So Tickle Monster I actually wrote when I think it was 2. And I was tickling him, and the story just was kind of came to me. And then I went in, went and met him. Like, this is something like tickling is so universal. Every child loves it. It bonds the parent and child or whomever, they and there's laughter and joy, and you're in the moment, right? Because what I also noticed too, when I would read to my kids, I could read like a book and not even know what I just read them. I was thinking about what I had to do. And then I'm not in the moment with them. I'm just going through the steps of what I should be doing at night. What I loved about the idea of interacting in a book was that, number one, like, kids freaking love it when you're paying attention to them, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
playing with them. And so it took me a lot of years to actually get it done and written, because I would write some, and then I would start working on something, and then I'd come back to it. Originally it was the mom took off the mask, and then that changed Monster. And so anyway, that's what it came from. Me just tickling Mason, him loving it, and just seeing the joy that he had. And yeah, I love writing books. I love writing books for kids. For one, like, as a writer, you've got a beginning and end that, like, I'm in control of, whereas in acting, I'm really only in control of one thing, and that's knowing my lines, playing the part as best I can. And that's it. Right.
It. Yeah.
But I don't edit it. I don't know what it's going to turn out. I don't know what they're going to pick. So with writing, it's the first project I've ever done where I actually created the whole thing, aside from the illustrator. Obviously I didn't color it, but I got to be part of choosing the illustrator. And so that was so much fun. Something I'd never experienced before. We're really focusing now just on Tickle Monster. And, it's one of those things, it's so beautiful because every child, there's always new children being born. And so it's been a great gift. It does really well without me really even promoting it. And, I don't have to say like, oh, I wrote it. It sells itself because it's really special, right? It's just a special experience and I love hearing it. Teachers read it to their kids. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, that was my favorite part of the day, was reading too, when I was a teacher.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing, is reading to children. So, and then Colleen's like, I know that. I didn't know that you wrote it.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
I love, and I'm like, wait a second, I didn't even realize she wrote it. Did you have any idea how popular it was going to be? Did you have an inkling in your mind?
No, in fact, I wish I had a little more of this now. And that is the one thing about getting older, you're wiser. So I thought I could do anything when I was young. Like, why can't I do that? Why? Although I did do that on a Hallmark movie. I told them I could sing. I can sing. I can sing. I can play the guitar.
Is that with Jack Wagner when you told him you
the
could
wedding
sing?
march? Yeah.
So I guess you still do that. Yeah, why can't I can figure it out, whatever. Mortifying. You don't realize when I got on the stage to film it, I have never, I like get chills thinking about it. I have never been so like nervous in my life. Because imagine like we're filming it and there's background.
Yes. Yeah.
For the fans watching us sing. And I realized I didn't practice what it feels like to hold a microphone and to stand on stage and to sing on stage. Like, how do I move my body? All I did was practice in the car, like singing. And even my daughter was like, Mom, you told him you could sing?
They're so honest, aren't they?
Well, we knew, like we both, like I couldn't hit the note. Like it was a hard note to hit. I told Jack that, like, it's too high. Like, I don't know where to fit in it. I can't do it. It's your fault. Anyway, back to Tickle Monster. So what I did do is one day I went into Barnes and Noble. Oh, I miss bookstores. I love bookstores. They're not around so much. And I thought, holy cow, there are so many children's books. I'm never coming in here again until I'm done, because it made me think, why would mine sell more than anyone else? Like, how am I going to, so I purposely never went back into a bookstore, because it just made me, it switched my thought process of, well, wait, maybe I can't do this when I knew I could. So I just was like, I'm not going to do that. Like, this is what I want. I know it. I like the message, right? That's it and the passion behind it. So yeah, I'm so happy that it's brought so much joy to, sometimes like just go on YouTube and like search for it, and I'll just see videos of people and their kids laughing and running, and it's just I love it.
It's great. It's a great interaction. And like you said,
Yeah.
that you're engaged with the child while you're reading it, and they love that. And that's so important. It's so important.
It is.
And it's just fun. So
Yeah,
there you
it's
go.
fun.
It's just fun. I mean, and even, grandkids and all that.
Yes.
So like you said, it's timeless. This
That's
will
right.
carry on. So
Yeah.
with your daughter being 19 and your son in his 20s, if one of them came to you and said, I would like to go into acting, how would you react to that? Or have they?
They have not, but I would embrace it. Whatever. Yeah. I used to say, I wouldn't want them to. It's just a really difficult, I think they say like 2% of Screen Actors Guild, people who are in Screen Actors Guild actually make a living, right? That's not very
I believe
much.
that. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. So, knowing that, just the straight facts, I would want to discourage that kind of thing. But my gosh, like if they wanted to and they were into it, first of all, they have two parents that are in the business. So there's already, it's who a lot of the time. And like I really realized too, as I get older with my kids, that it's just so important to just do what you love, just do what you love. And so I would support them in that for sure.
It's so hard to do that when you're a parent, because you worry about all these things that they're going to go through, but it is something I've learned to do. Just like, okay, I've got to just sit on my hands and back off. Yes. And just let them do their thing.
Easy. Yeah. It's not easy to do.
Yeah. It's like their journey. It's what makes them who they are and who they're going to be. It's their path. And I've always thought like, we're here to guide them the best we can, but we have to kind of let go and let them fall, make mistakes, and figure out, oh, I liked that, but I didn't like that,
Right.
I always tell my kids, like, pay attention to when you are happy, because oftentimes we pay attention to when we're sad or, not feeling quite great and depressed. There's so much depression and anxiety right now with everybody, kids and teenagers. They've just missed so much. And so I've always said, like, what is it that makes you happy? But when you're happy, don't forget to notice that, because that's what tells us what we love.
Yes.
Wow, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Really, that's great advice.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that we love to talk about is, perimenopause and menopause on our show, as you can tell from the title. Trying to do a smooth transition didn't really work. But so what has been your experience with the whole joys of perimenopause and menopause?
It's a funny thing, perimenopause, because like, are you in it? Are you not? Like, there's no, is there a test? I mean, I don't.
There's a blood work. There's blood work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've smoothly gone through it all. My biggest thing was being hot, like all the time.
Yes.
I'm always hot. And I already run hot anyway. And so like Jack and I, for example, he's from LA. He loves it hot. Like he'd be like, are you kidding me? I got to have every window open possible. Like if we were rehearsing in Vancouver in the middle of winter or whatever. I love it cold. So that was tough, because I just felt like this internal heat, like a burning oven. And I never had like those flashes where I did at night, sweaty. Sweaty night, but not during the day. And then I had realized that my ID was probably time to be changed one day. No, my OB or my gynecologist was like, how long have you had that in? I'm like, let's see, Maya's 19, maybe too long. So we went ahead and changed that out to the one with the progesterone. That did it. Like,
that's very helpful. Yes. Yeah.
So it's kind of, because I was sort of spotting and I was on my way out of having my period. And then when I got that put in, I have not had it again. And the hot flash or the hotness has gone away. And emotionally, I think I'm more emotional for sure, which I like, actually. I mean, I'm not in a bad way. It's more of like a softer heart, I suppose,
It's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have like outbursts of anger or that. I don't go that way, thankfully. Yeah. It's more, yeah, it's just I'm touched more and I could cry quicker. Whereas there was part of my life where, when life gets difficult and divorce and all that, you really do like build up a bit of a guard around your heart to just get through life. Feel like that's like coming down. So it's nice.
Yeah,
It's-
the other side is nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry,
rub it
Colleen.
in. I'm
Sorry,
54
Colleen,
and I'm
she's
still
still-
in perimenopause.
Yeah. She is.
I'm gonna be 80 and still in perimenopause.
She's going to be in the Guinness World Book of Records.
I can't
here's
I
the
can't
woman.
tell you how jealous I am of both of you right now. I think also, I read somewhere that you eat mainly a plant-based diet. I mean, for the most part, and I think that
Yeah.
helps a lot too.
I think it does.
Okay.
Mhm.
Diet. Yeah. I've always been drawn to just eating, not always, but there was a point where I shifted into just eating more plant-based. And then it's funny, the more you eat it, the more you crave it. Like anything that I'll eat meat if I need it or I feel like I need it. But yeah, I think you're probably right. A cleaner diet is always better for everything.
It doesn't have any of the artificial or any chemicals or,
Yes.
less. So,
Yeah.
and I think that does play a really big role. It really, we're just finding with the people that we talk to, doctors and different experts and dietitians, nutritionists, that diet is a very big part of it.
Right.
Yes.
Right. That's good that they're putting that out there and that's true. Milk, like dairy, it's just
It's
not so
it's
great.
really scary what's
Yeah.
all goes in there. And we grew up in the 70s where everything was thrown in there, all the
Right.
colors, everything, all the
Oh
chemicals.
my God. I ate ravioli from a can.
Oh,
different
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Little
pots,
Chef Boyardee there.
Oh, Chef Boyardee City. Yes.
Yeah. Terrible diet. Terrible.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
sugar is a big
Oh, yeah.
problem with your hot flashes.
Oh,
The
yeah.
connection between sugar and hot flashes, a lot of the experts say is very strong.
I think cleansing too is so important these days. Just going on like through short one if you can, but the intermittent fasting too, because that's giving your body a break. But 1 to 3 day cleanses, just because there's so many just chemicals in our environment now that we can't control. That with cancer, with all of these autoimmune disorders, if we could do that with our bodies, cleanse at least once a month, from what I'm reading and hearing, it just knocks your chances of getting some of that stuff. Right. Those cells are all in our body already.
Right.
It's a matter
Yes.
of
It's just they're being activated or
Yeah,
triggered
activated.
to start doing things. Yes.
Yeah.
And just getting the conversation out there. Like one of the reasons why we started the show was because there wasn't enough conversation out there to normalize not just menopause, but this whole chapter of life. Like they didn't know what to do with us. So we were like, okay, let's figure it out ourselves.
Yes.
Like, a lot of women are now, we've interviewed a lot of women who have started companies post 50 for skincare for menopause or after post menopause, for hair care for post menopause. Like we are starting to get it out there, but it's a slow moving process.
Right.
So like you are getting back on screen saying, I'm going to enjoy my 50th birthday on Fantasy Island. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds silly, but it is. I mean, you would never even mention that you were 50 before in TV. Like, oh no.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Right.
So true.
And now we're celebrating it. So I'm excited to see this episode.
I am too.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Just before I talked to you guys today, I got to watch it since.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, I was talking to Nancy, my publicist, and she was like, I just saw it. It's great. I'm like, really?
Are you sure?
I just love that they have a woman. The character is a woman.
She is so fantastic, you guys. The two of them, Kira and Sanchez. Yeah. She's first of all so beautiful, and she's so charming and so wonderful in person. But it was the first time I've seen like a whole episode of it. She's really, really special. I'm excited for you to see it. I think you'll enjoy the show just with the message. Like each message is special. You go on thinking, and this is life. We think we want something. It's going to make us happy. People go on with these fantasies, and then there's a lesson in it, right? So it's not always what we want. It's actually something quite different. And then the island, because it's magical, shows characters what real lesson that they need, like what spiritual growth they need to go through. It's really, really well done.
Oh, wow.
I was gonna say, is it closely mirror the original Fantasy Island, or does it really kind of divert from?
I would have to watch it again, because I don't remember it having like those sort of deeper.
Right, and they didn't. It was
They
Okay.
didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I saw
Yeah.
the old
it was
ones.
a Love Boat Fantasy Island Saturday
That's
night. I
right.
mean,
That's right. That's right.
Both of those. Yeah. Yeah. All three characters do go through a bit of a transformation with each other and with themselves. And yeah, and all three struggling. Not so much my character, she's struggling for something different, but
it's awesome. I can't wait to see
Aw.
it. And it's
Yeah.
on September 12th. So make
That's
sure
right.
everybody on Fox, make sure to check that out. And what
Yeah.
would you like to see happen next?
yes. Well, right now, like I said, I'm in such a transition of actually physically my home. So I've just moved, and this home I'm in now in Washington was meant to be, it's 5 acres. I've never lived out, too far from a city. It sort of was meant to be a bit of a homestead, because I said I have a lot of family. So if people wanted to build tiny houses, if people want to build, like, we want that as an option. But the home itself needs to be remodeled. And then my husband lives in Atlanta with my 3 stepkids. So he has a job there. And so he's just there full time. And then Maya just left. So it's really like, whoa, like this house has to be either rented out, or I don't rent it out, or we keep it and come back and forth, but yet it needs to be remodeled. So I personally I'm struggling a bit out here in the country.
Mhm.
It's so beautiful, but I wasn't planning on living here for too long. It was like, let's buy it, fix it up. We'll live in Atlanta, and I just haven't gotten there yet. And
Mhm.
so for me, my like home and my environment is super important. Like I have to feel good, and it has to be light. I'm very light sensitive, even in Washington. And like people really struggle in the winter times with the darkness and the gray. But when you have a view and you have water, it doesn't matter. And so when I'm in a darker space, I feel it emotionally. So I need to get out of here soon and get that figured out. And then I feel like I can sort of move on. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it's everything. It's like everything has been going, and now it's slowing down. And it's everything from my technology. It's like, God, I can't find anything. I have computers, laptops, things everywhere. Maybe it's on this, maybe it's on that. The internet's not working. Like it's just like, that's why I say I want to get my Airstream sometimes. Like I just, wow.
Get in it and go. Yes. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
and
get
haven't
that.
you been flipping houses too since you got married?
That was something that we tried, and it was way more work than we expected. Yeah. That's great.
You're like,
to
tried
do,
it?
like,
No.
yeah, like it'd be fun on our own, but we were going to do it as a show. That was a tester to see. We were maybe going to do with HGTV. So that was kind of our first tester. Yeah, it was like,
That would drive me crazy.
Like, no.
I never have built a house. I've always bought a house that was already owned because
yes.
I don't think I could go through it.
Yeah.
I had my kitchen redone last summer, and
Yeah.
that was enough.
She hated every second of
I
it. She
did.
hated
I
every-
did.
There's so many choices, and there's so many, it's like, I know how I want to look. Just make it look like that. I'll come back to that.
Right.
Let
Right.
me know when you're done, and
Yeah.
I'll come back to the house.
Decorating part's my favorite, but the
Yeah.
building of it, like, I just want to be in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
want it done in a day. I just want it done. Yeah.
Right.
And then it won't be a good quality, but
Yeah.
that's like it'll fall over.
Yeah.
But like I like to paint sometimes, but not really. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to paint my dining room furniture, but it's going to be done this weekend or it's never going to be done. Yeah.
I went through that painting stage, and I got like this paint sprayed, like tent booth thing. I'd stick all this furniture in there and just spray it down. It was
Yeah.
fun. Like, look
Yeah.
at this. I bought it out of the dumpster. It looks like
Yeah.
you would never know.
Right. I did I did the chalk painting and the waxing and the everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like,
But
but I want it done, and I don't want to do anybody else's, just mine.
Right. I think it's also creative, like outlet. Oh, we want to see my new
Yes.
kitty. Come here.
Oh.
Baby.
Aw.
Oh, kid.
So Maya got me 2 rescue kittens before she left.
Oh, look,
Oh my gosh, how
kitty.
cute.
It's a black cat.
That's
Oh.
a baby.
That's his
Aw.
name. Her name, baby.
Baby. Oh, that's
baby.
funny.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
funny.
I'm glad
Oh,
my
how
kids didn't get me cats we have an 18-year-old cat, so that's fine.
She's got Morris. Yeah, I've got Kitty. Mine's Kitty.
She went with a
I love
creative
it.
name,
A
Kitty.
very
Yeah,
creative
that's
Kitty.
cute.
Yeah.
always know.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you.
today.
Yes, this has been a great talk and just loved hearing,
really
catching up with
appreciate
everything you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thanks for doing this podcast. Like everybody, we all need it. So I appreciate it. You guys were wonderful. And I can't wait to meet you. I'm going to come out to Nashville.
Come
You
see
are
us.
welcome
Yes, we'll take you around.
anytime. We are
Yes.
serious.
Yeah, just let us know.
All right.
Tell Nancy to give us an email. So we will.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thank you so much, Josie, for coming on and just having such a great conversation. Our invitation to come visit us in Nashville is open whenever you want to come here.